The trial begins for a Minnesota man accused in the Wisconsin hunting rampage killing.
Dangerous weapon. How did this thing turn into a war?
Your fucking Asian coming to my ass, I'm gonna kick your fucking Asian ass.
St. Paul man Chai Vang accused of opening fire in the northwestern part of the state.
Firstly, before I start today's video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for 500 subscribers. I never thought I'd really find an audience as active and amazing as you all, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Because of our milestone, I decided to look back into some of the comments for your suggestions. I figured after covering a fantastic work of unfiction, it kinda only makes sense to cover something a little more morbidly non-fiction. This suggestion came to me from a viewer by the name of 4721 Archer Sue, and what caught my eye was actually where this case took place. This happened to take place in a state I've lived most of my life in, and I had actually never heard of the case until now. We're going to look into what may drive a man to become a monster, or their own self-savior. By the end, I'd like you to leave me a comment below on your opinion of this story, and whether you think this case is justifiable or not. Today we talk about the case of a man named Chai Vang, and whether or not he saved his own life, or was secretly a killer finally revealed. Chai Sua Vang was born on September 24th of 1968 in the country of Laos. In 1980, he immigrated with his family to California. There, he enlisted in the California National Guard before he and his family moved to St. Paul, Minnesota in 2000. It seems that Vang didn't stay out of trouble after the move, as he was involved in a domestic incident with his first wife in December of 2001. His daughter vaguely recalls that he was holding a gun during the argument. Not long after this incident, his first wife would leave him and he would eventually remarry. However, this next marriage also seemed to be a strained one. The couple divorced after an incident involving Vang strangling his second wife nearly to death over a $3,000 gambling debt that she had owed. The incident that would put his name into the news, however, didn't happen until November 21st of 2004. After hunting over the weekend with his friends and their two sons in Meteor, Wisconsin, Vang was walking through what he thought was public land while hunting. He posted up in a deer stand not too far from a cabin that was privately owned. Little did he know, the deer stand was on a private land owned by Terry Willers and Robert Bob Crotto. Terry Willers spotted Vang in the deer stand and, after alerting his hunting party via radio, directed Vang away from the private land. After Vang left, Robert Crotto then began to pursue Vang, trying to get his information and find out his reasoning for being on his land. At this point, the accounts given by Vang and by the Crotto and Willard families begin to tell different stories. According to Vang's account, Robert and Joey Crotto, Dennis Drew, Mark Roit, and Lauren Hessebeck arrived on their ATVs and immediately began questioning him. Chai Vang stated that Robert used obscenities and was very aggressive in his questioning, making him feel like he was going to be attacked by the group. When he tried to leave, Robert's son Joey blocked his path with an ATV and began reading off the hunting license located on his back. At this time, Terry Willers moved his rifle to his front while Vang was analyzing the area with the rifle in hand, still scared that he'd be jumped by the group. According to Terry Willers, he told Vang not to shoot as he believed that Vang was going to fire upon the men. But Vang contradicts this account, saying that Terry was the aggressor by moving the gun in front of him. Confusion and shouting hit the air as Vang immediately dropped to his far right for cover, stating that he saw a gunshot kick dirt up a few feet away from him. Vang immediately unfastened his scope, thinking that he was being fired upon, and then proceeded to fire back at the 5 hunters. Using his Sega semi-automatic rifle chambered in 7.62 by 39mm, he fired around 20 shots. According to the trial, this is how the events unfolded. Vang took aim at Terry Willers, paralyzing him with his second shot before shooting Mark Roy with a kill shot instantly. Vang then shot Dennis Drew and pursued the Crotto men. Robert Crotto radioed to the rest of his hunting party about the shooting, as well as Terry, who miraculously could move his fingers. Vang's second shot on Robert Crotto was fatal, and he turned his attention to Joey, who began running through the woods. Using 3 shots, Joey was left crawling away as Vang finished him off with a 4th shot, directly to the head. Vang immediately hit as he could hear the ATV of Alan Lasky and Jessica Willer, who were coming to help. As they passed by, he then shot Jessica through her left buttock, shattering her hip and striking Lasky, who was hit in the lower spine. Using 2 more shots, he executed Lasky, and then while she was bleeding for her life, executed a fleeing Jessica Willer with a shot to the neck and the brain. Believing he had killed every witness, Vang returned to the initial site and tried to retrieve his scope. There, he came face to face with Hasselbeck, who he had tried to kill with 3 close-range shots while chasing him and the Crotto men. By a miracle, Hasselbeck had managed to feign being dead and then proceeded to engage Vang in a standoff. Vang fled when he had to reload, discarding his ammo and hitching a ride with another unsuspecting hunter, all the way back to his original cabin. He was arrested 5 hours later at his hunting cabin. During the trial, a lot of tension was in the air due to the race of Chai Vang. He was a Hmong American, an immigrant from Laos whose father actually worked with the CIA during the Vietnam War. In the area of Sawyer County, the Hmong people living in northern Wisconsin have reported experiencing some form of racism frequently. Racism as a whole in the state of Wisconsin appears to be very regional. In my own experiences, I've definitely seen it in higher concentrations in smaller towns, but it's even a problem with the larger towns such as Milwaukee as well. Whenever a case seems to come through with a person that's race isn't white, it tends to garner a lot of, let's say, unsavory responses. Don't get me wrong, this isn't me labeling the entire state as a racist place. In fact, there's plenty of nice people out there. But there's definitely some conversation to be had about it. Many Hmong groups, including Vang's family, believed him to be innocent, saying that he was just defending himself against a group of racists. But even so, one has to wonder why he killed more than just the men who allegedly harassed him then. When on trial, Vang's statements garnered even more hatred, when he flat out acknowledged that some of the hunters he killed deserved to die. And if you don't believe me, here's a clip straight from the trial itself.
Can you tell me if on that day, if Mr. Roy deserved to die?
No.
Can you tell me if on that day Mr. Drew deserved to die?
No.
Can you tell me if on that day Joseph Prado deserved to die?
Yes.
Can you tell me if on that day Mr. Lasky deserved to die?
Yes.
Can you tell me if on that day Miss Willers deserved to die?
No, Mr. Robert and those three, they wanted it. I pretty much feel that they deserve.
Vang's legal team proposed that because of a language barrier, his intent was lost in his words. What he meant by accepting said statement was that he agreed that the victims he believed deserved to die had a hand in their own demise by threatening him verbally and with a weapon. Even after the trial, he's maintained his self-defense plea, despite the fact that the police never found a shell casing from Terry Willer's gun that was supposedly shot first. After 3 hours of deliberation, Vang was found guilty on all murder charges and sentenced to 6 consecutive life terms plus 70 years. After the trial, his family immediately addressed the media, stating that the trial was never a just one due to the race of the jury selected and the lack of understanding from the jurors. Many of the Hmong community members around the US also agree that he never received a fair trial and point out the lack of police work and ballistics tests done to figure out who actually fired the shot first. To them, it's an anomaly. But to the Crotto and Willers families, justice was served. Strangely, another case was brought up shortly after this one, with the roles kind of reversed. This case was about a Caucasian hunter by the name of James Nichols, claiming self-defense after killing and hiding the body of a Vang, a Hmong hunter in the northern woods of Wisconsin. He was charged with second-degree intentional homicide and is serving a maximum of 69 years in prison even after evidence was found of his racial distaste for the Hmong people. This, of course, reinvigorated interest in the Vang case, but no appeals were ever filed. So, do you believe that Vang is innocent or guilty? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Again, a big thank you to 4721 Archer Sue for the case recommendation, and be sure to send me any recommendations you have in the comments, Twitter, or Instagram. All those links are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing to see the next upload. Remember that you're loved, and I look forward to broadcasting to your screens again next time. Sleep tight.